Mix It Up Variety Wednesday. The iPower Evening Show. iPower 1 FM.
At this time, we read your emails from what we like to call the email bag. In the fourth hour, we read your emails every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have an important topic to discuss, whether news, sports, or entertainment, or free your mind on Fridays, go to our official website, iPower1FM.com, and click the email bag. When I read your emails, Ricky and Raphael are also reading along. We pick out the emails to read on the air that are appropriate exclusively on the iPower Show. Y'all want to talk about your favorite morning show that you listen to faithfully, besides our evening show? I myself is guilty of that, which is no problem for me. Do you listen to Russ Parr in the morning? Do you listen to Ricky Smiley in the morning? Do you listen to The Breakfast Club in the morning? Or any morning show to start your day? Reading your emails. Good evening, iPower family. For me, I was a big, huge Tom Joyner morning show fan, and I really do miss Tom Joyner on the air. He was my inspiration. I cannot seem to get into the Ricky Smiley morning show. I just can't do it. I'm now listening to the Russ Parr morning show, because he's close to Tom Joyner. Katie Jenkins from Dallas, Texas. I'll respond to Katie Jenkins in a minute. We got more emails. What up, fam? Yo, I ain't gonna front. Even though I'm from the Bean, I can't get into any of these local radio stations here in Boston. They all suck. When Jammin' took the Breakfast Club off the air, I started to listen to them online in New York, because they're the only ones I listen to that starts off my day. I like DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God, but he needs to lay off them penis jokes. He's starting to get on my nerves with that. LOL. People gonna start looking at him suspicious, calling him Charlamagne the Gay. But on the real, the Breakfast Club is on fire right now, that I listen to every day. Dre Martin from Dorchester, Massachusetts. Thanks, Dre. Always have respect for this brother from Boston that does get it. And you're right, Katie Jenkins from Dallas, Texas. I get what you're saying. Look, I respect Ricky Smiley for his hard work in syndication, reaching out to the hip-hop and R&B listening audience nationwide when his radio show used to be in Atlanta. But now that his show is in Dallas, Texas, at Tom's old Velvet Cake studio, now run by Ricky Smiley and Urban One, I myself personally can't get into Ricky Smiley's show at all, because I'm always tuned in to either Tom Joyner, Russ Parr, or The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I listen to all three of their shows in the morning.
Tom Joyner was
For
on.
example, when The Breakfast Club is about to get into a commercial or an interview that I don't think is good, depending on the guests, I can always watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the time when I either tune in to another station and listen to Russ Parr or Tom Joyner.
Right.
But mostly Russ Parr in the morning.
Yeah, you've been a big supporter of Radio 1, now Urban 1, when Tom Joyner used to be in Boston on 1090 WILD and Russ Parr on 97.7 WILD FM.
Right.
When they took Russ Parr off the Boston airwaves back in 2004 and Tom Joyner in 2011, you still kept the same energy and still tuned into Russ Parr, tuned into Tom Joyner,
Yes.
and now tuned in to The Breakfast Club.
Because our black voices matter.
You ain't lying.
Even though Boston canceled the syndicated black voices from off WILD and replaced it with an international Chinese radio station, WILD was the black voice of the community in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
I never left the black syndicated voices of Tom Joyner, Russ Parr, or now The Breakfast Club.
No, you didn't.
Even if I disagree with Charlamagne the God and some of his foolishness on the air, but he means well.
Right.
We need those black voices to continue on these airways for us.
Yes.
Reverend Al Sharpton is another person I faithfully listen in the afternoons. That was in Boston until 2011.
Yeah.
But when WILD Radio canceled Sharpton, I never left Sharpton.
Right.
I kept the same energy, still listening to Reverend Al to this day on one of the Urban One affiliates, like
Yeah.
1490 WERE in Cleveland. That's where I listen to Sharpton all the time. Despite of what some black folks think of him or some of the issues I disagree with Sharpton on, those are the important black voices I will continue to support.
Amen.
We got some more emails. Greetings. I'm aware that your radio show and your online radio station used to be in Boston. I know you meant well, supporting and listening to our black voices that are syndicated nationwide. When Tom Joyner's show came to Boston back in 1999 on WILD AM, I never had an issue with our brother Tom Joyner, but I definitely had an issue with our sister Kathy Hughes when she bought WILD from Bernadine Nash after the passing of her husband Kendall Nash. Yes, the black voices in the morning were syndicated nationally, yes, but not locally for our people of Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan, meaning our local black voices of Boston was not being heard in the morning, like the TJMS. The other problem that I had with you is that you never supported Touch FM. That was operated by Charles Clemens. If the energy was very supportive for brothers like Tom Joyner or Russ Parr or even the Breakfast Club in the morning, how come that same energy was not supportive for Brother Charles and Touch FM? That was the fabric of the black communities here in Boston. Sister Caroline from Roxbury, Massachusetts. Sister Caroline from Roxbury, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Yes, not every black person, African Americans from Boston, didn't like Kathy Hughes' decision to buy 1090 WILD after the passing of Kendall Nash, who owned WILD radio for a long time. And in defense of Kathy Hughes, of Radio 1 at that time, now Urban 1, Ms. Hughes wanted to give Black Boston a chance to listen to syndicated programming like a Tom Joyner, like a Russ Parr, like an Al Sharpton. The reason why I never gave Mr. Clemens nor Touch FM a chance, because they never gave me a chance when they overlooked their own brother, which to them, I was not considered their brother. But you see, that's all good and dandy, because I moved on and moved forward. See, it wasn't some of the things I disagree with Charles Clemens when it came to some so-called beautiful uptown Grove Hall in Roxbury, which was the hood. And there was nothing beautiful nor uptown about Grove Hall, because I lived in Grove Hall, part of Roxbury, at one time, but let that go. Tom Joyner, Russ Parr, and Reverend Al Sharpton was more of an inspiration for me to use my black voice behind these microphones. Unfortunately, Mr. Clemens was not. I was inspired by Tom Joyner to get into radio, which I've been doing online for the past 13 years. With all my love and support that I have from my black people on the air, which was Tom Joyner, Russ Parr, Al Sharpton, there's no way I was going to trade those three brothers for Brother Charles Clemens in Boston. No, I'm sorry.
Amen.
I know he means well. I know he means well to his black people back in Boston, but I also meant well to my black people on the air that I've looked up to for many years. That meant a lot to me as a black person who has been doing online broadcast internet radio.
Meaning you wasn't going to be down with this echo chamber because a new low-power black-owned FM station came to Boston back in 2006 for the fabric of the black community.
No.
You was all set, by the way, with Brother Tom Joyner,
Yes.
who indeed was giving back to the fabric of the black communities nationwide.
Right, and that's why I stayed with Tom, Russ, Al Sharpton.
Yeah, right.
I kept that same energy for all these 20 years, and I wasn't about to break away from black people on the radio that I love and who inspired me to have a voice of my own on this radio program for my listening audience.
Absolutely.
And some of the black listening audience from Boston that faithfully still tuned in to our radio program.
Yep.
Despite that, we're now in New York City, keeping that same energy.
You ain't lying.
We got this final email. Good evening, family. The Ricky Smiley Morning Show used to come on 96.7 The Beat here in the ATL. And now that Tom Joyner has retired and Ricky Smiley has moved to Dallas where Tom's show used to be at, we now have the Breakfast Club from New York. And I'm going to keep it 100. I listen to both Ricky Smiley and the Breakfast Club back and forth. But now since Ricky Dunn took his show to Dallas, I can faithfully listen to DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God. Leisha Davis, 82 from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Leisha Davis, 82 from Atlanta. And believe it or not, some black people in the ATL wanted the Breakfast Club to come down to their city for a long time because not everyone in Atlanta was feeling Ricky Smiley.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club with Envy, Yee, and Charlamagne is getting bigger, and now they can be heard in the ATL.
Right.
I say give it to the end of the year for the Breakfast Club on the air in Atlanta.
They're going to definitely forget all about Ricky Smiley that used to be there on 96.7 The Beat.
Right.
I myself listen to the Breakfast Club on Power 105 here in New York, also 97 with Ebro in the morning. A lot of black people listen to Power 105 for the Breakfast Club.
Because the Breakfast Club means a lot to some people back in Boston after it was canceled.
I can't blame them.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I listened to a local Boston urban station.
Yeah.
I'm also tuned in to either the Breakfast Club or their competition, Ebro in the morning on Hot 97 in New York.
To be honest with you, the only radio station I listen to thus far in the morning from Boston is Hot 96.9, the Get Up Crew with Ramiro, Pebbles, and Melissa.
With the second date update? Yeah,
It's the only morning show I listen to. The other radio stations can suck balls.
Wow.
Yeah. That should do it for the email
Oh,
back.
man.